Good afternoon. My name is Amanda Dowd. I'm from the House and County Board of Education, and today we're going to be talking about bridging the gap and kind of connecting educators with new technological innovations. So when you bring forth different innovations, we have different types of adopters. Um, so these are going to be the colleagues that you're interacting with as you're trying to get an innovation okayed, or you're introducing it after the county has bought it. These are going to be the different types of reactions, basically. So you have an innovator. They're willing to experience new ideas. They're prepared to face uncertainty and challenges. And they can be seen as risk takers, which sometimes affects the respect that they get from other colleagues. Your early adopters, that is the highest degree of opinion leadership in most systems. They're often seen as someone to check with before new ideas. They're frequently respected by colleagues, and their stamp of approval encourages others. So this will often be the person that people kind of look for advice from, or hey, that person thinks it's a good idea, so maybe it is a good idea. Just kind of lead others in the way of thinking. Next, you have the early majority. That group actually takes up about 34% of your group. They adopt new ideas right before everyone else. So they have a little bit of uncertainty, but they're quick to jump on board. They do think the idea through before adopting it, but they're willing to adopt many ideas. But you're not going to see these people lead new ideas. And then you have the late majority, and they're kind of just adopting because they have to, or because they're the only one not doing it, or out of peer pressure. This group also makes up 34% of people. They can be skeptical and have a lot of caution about new ideas, and they're only really adopting because everyone else has. And they're kind of waiting for some of their questions or what they're uncertain about to be addressed, or even to be taken care of or handled. So together, the early majority and late majority, that's 68% of your group, and that's where most of your people will fall. And lastly, you have the laggards. They're going to be last in a system to adopt, and they do not have opinions in relation with leadership. They like to think about the way things have always been done and rely on that. In their mind, the reason that they are resistant is very rational, and they have to feel that a lot of reassurance that it's not going to fail before they will adopt a new idea. So as you are dealing with all these 5 different types of adopters, it's important to remember that not everyone's going to agree. Some people might address that in a different way than others, or in a different way that you would address it. Matthew 5:9 says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God." You can be a peacemaker and still have difficult conversations or discuss the pros and cons of an innovation. This would be the easiest way to identify with your innovators and early adopters, and even some of your early majority. It's important to have open dialogue and active listening, because it builds a sense of trust with your colleagues, and that sense of trust would really push those to have just a slight question about the innovations kind of over to the side of going ahead and adopting. And then, of course, you have your people who are going to strongly disagree, who are going to have to be pushed to adopting, whether it be from some type of leadership within a building or even beyond the building. Mainly dealing with your late majority and your laggards, and sometimes a small group of your early majority. Just remember that in James 1:19, everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. The way we present this information, interact with the people that have a lot of questions and the people who are kind of what some might say stuck in their ways or feel like the way they've done it is better, so why change it? The way we conversate with them and the way we treat them is going to be what kind of pushes them to be encouraged to give it an opportunity. And while some of these conversations might not be easy to have, these conversations have to be had. You cannot ignore them. Having these conversations helps to avoid, worsening the relationship, worsening the situation, and declining productivity. Eventually, having these conversations should push you and that person to being able to accept the initiative, and then that would increase their productivity and hopefully your relationship. And once everybody is on board, you can kind of still work together. There are no bridges have been burned because you had such a disagreement about the initiative. And when all of this is happening, it is important that we remember that we present ourselves like Christ did, and that again does not mean not talking to people. It does not mean letting people walk over you. You can stand firm, but you can still listen to everyone. Consider feelings and emotions. Treat the differences kindly. Like I said, you can have differences, you can have different opinions, you can have different backgrounds, you can see initiatives differently, but that does not mean you treat each other in an unkindly way when discussing that. And then again, allow time for consideration. A lot of these different types of adopters need time to consider the pros, the cons. They want their questions answered, so it's important to practice patience.